executive search industry is over a $14 billion industry. Most senior roles, executive and board level roles, are now presented to executive search firms to work on. They are often competitive situations where there are multiple firms that come in to bid on a search. And it might be the CEO, it might be a succession plan, it might be a non-executive director, but these positions are being managed through this multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, how of these firms in this multi-billion-dollar industry, how are they selected? So maybe think back to an appointment that was made in your organization when the new CEO perhaps was appointed, or a new COO, CFO, CTO, you name it. When they were appointed, what was the criteria upon which the executive search team firm that was ultimately selected, what was the criteria against which they were selected? Was it network? Was it cost? Was it market knowledge? Was it that they were referred in by an influential member of the board, and so that trusted buddy was the person who came in to do the work? May even be speed to hire. You know, in fact, it's all of those things. All of those things influence how a search firm is selected. And depending on the order of importance of those things, depends how much bias comes into the process itself. So here, I want to tell you just a quick story, and then I'll hopefully this will add a little bit of color to things. So network, market knowledge, relationship, cultural understanding, they're all incredibly important. And I think that the dynamic that anyone has with their potential partner through a search process is critical to success. I recently was in a competitive situation where I was bidding for a chief commercial officer for a two-sided marketplace, doing really amazing work, driving government procurement decisions into underrepresented minorities. So firms that were led by underrepresented minorities and helping governments use their spend in a more equitable way. Awesome organization, secured a really significant amount of funding recently into that up leveling to what they're doing. I worked with them many years ago, and I had put in one of their senior product leaders. I've stayed very close to the business to see them go through these kind of growing pains of an early startup company and know them well, understand their culture, understand two-sided marketplaces, understand the government space, have not done exactly this role in that space. So I do not have an immediate network of chief commercial officers to go to that match exactly that spec. We lost that search to another search firm, and my client was very transparent, explained why, because he, the search partner, came to my client and said he had just placed the guy at an exact same organization. So his network was representative, full of the guys that he had just placed and had in his shortlist for this other organization. So I come back to my question with that observation, which is this. What does your network look like? What do networks look like? If the power of a search firm is the power of their network and the knowledge they have about an industry segment, what does that look like in the search industry? Reflect on that for a second. What does your network look like? It's what I'm going to say. I can't see the room. I'm assuming it's 95% women in this room, all of whom are at director and senior level positions. And I would bet that the vast majority of our most influential leaders in our network are not dissimilar to us, whether it's age, whether it's gender, whether it's industry segment. We're going to see our networks look and feel a little bit like us. So what I can tell you, statistically reported that 63% of the exec search industry is white. I don't have exact data on what percentage of the executive search industry in technology in particular are men. I will tell you anecdotally that if I were to put a number on it, I would say 75 to 85% of the exec search industry that focus on technology are male. The reason this is important is because if we build our networks with people who look and seem and feel like us, and the industry in exec search is skewed towards a gender imbalance, there's a natural sort of perpetuation of what we're seeing at the top of the house, in the executive suite and at the board level.